Okay, thank you very much, the global platform and the viewers online. I want to take this opportunity to thank everyone who has joined for this live conversation. Today we are going to talk about the feminist issues, all the issues which is affecting the life of young women and young feminists in their respective roles and responsibilities. It is going to be a 45 minutes conversation. I'm going to moderate the tonight conversations. Besides me, I have Maureen, who is one of the panelists, and I have Fortunate, who is also going to be another panelist. Momo, before we begin, I first want to, can I go on? Momo, before we start, I first want you to say hi to people. Momo, you're welcome.
Hi, thank you, moderator. I hope I'm audible enough.
Yes, I can hear you, Momo.
Can you hear me?
Yes, Momo, move on.
Okay, thank you, Susan. Hi, everyone. You're most welcome to this table talk, which we've dubbed, it's one of the episodes on the series of the Cafe Talk. You're really so welcome. Today we have an important topic to discuss, a topic that is at our hearts, really, and you're really welcome. And maybe before we can kickstart, this is going to be an interactive session. You're free to always use the chat to be able to give your views throughout the discussion. So thank you so much, and you're so welcome.
Thank you, Maureen. Viewers and the participant online, I also want to let you know that Momo is also one of our chair lady for Feminist Global Platform Uganda. Momo, you're most welcome for this conversation. I also want to introduce the next panelist, that is Fortunate. Fortunate, you're welcome.
Yeah, thank you, Susan. Thank you, Susan, Maureen, and ActionAid Global Platform for this opportunity for this talk. Yeah, I'm so excited and happy because the topic for today is really relevant and it's needed in this situation. I hope to hear from everyone. Let us share ideas, let us share experiences. Yeah, and we see how we can move on with what we started. Thank you.
Thank you, Fortunate. I'm also glad to welcome you here. I want also to encourage participants online, my young families, that let us be free, let us share experience, let us talk about the issues we are facing in our respective communities. This COVID is real. It has hindered so many activities, our productive activities in our respective areas. I also want to welcome Regina, who is also our impact coordinator for this conversation. Regina, you're much welcome. I also want to welcome David Nyaribi. David, you're so lost. I want to see you soon in a patch. I also want to inform my fellow feminists that we are all doing well here. Much as COVID is real and it is eating so much the life of the people. So today, majorly, we are going to discuss our issues, which is affecting the life of the young women, because this COVID has come, the second wave has come in its own way, in its unique way. And we are getting so hard to adapt to it. So much as the women's organizations are doing so much much as the women organizations are doing so much to work on the issues of women's rights, to encourage the government to promote women's rights. There's so many things which COVID-19 has brought, which is hindering our life. First of all, we want to be specific on the issues which is affecting we as feminists in our respective community. Momo, what do you think the government should do to help we young women who are doing our roles and responsibility, but the COVID is hindering our work?
So much, moderator. First of all, I will really introduce myself officially. My name is Tukahira Maureen. People where I grew up from call me Momo. I'm a team leader at Girls Must Uganda, and this is a movement of bridge the confidence gap. One of the challenges that is affecting many young women and barring them from reaching their full potential in both leadership, social and community, and economic spheres. Well, I am so privileged to be the chairlady of the Young Feminist Movement, a movement that is coordinated by Global Platform. Our hosts today, Global Platform Uganda, and we are a group of young women leaders who have moved on to communities, who have adapted the feminist ideology and taken it back to our communities to ensure that we empower young women to become better leaders in their communities. So first of all, Madam Moderator, before I get to your question, at least I would want us to first understand what feminist leadership is and why we really need it in this period, why it is very, very crucial that we have or we promote feminist leadership in this period of time. So feminist leadership is a process by which women assert their rights by continually evaluating relevant experiences, questioning their roles in society, and challenging power structures to effectively catalyze positive change, positive social change. And yes, indeed, we need feminist leadership now more than ever. Voices in this period. Yeah, that is a question that has been moving on, that has been asked by the different communities. Where are the feminists? Where are the feminist voices in this period? Most times you shall hear actually them contexting it and asking, where are the matembes of this period, or where are the matembes of today? Because you know what, they expect us to do exactly what the feminists then did. The feminists then did, and we cannot blame them. But one thing we always say to them is times have changed and we have more developed tools of communication and expression at hand. And before I even go to your question, I just want to give a bit of a context analysis. Like since March last year, when COVID-19, the pandemic broke out in our country, we've witnessed feminist and transformation leadership programs and trainings being conducted virtually. And well, this has really been so productive, but it has also minimally maintained the safe spaces for the young feminists to create, to innovate, but also to express themselves. If you've had a chance to hold physical safe spaces for feminist conversations, then you know what I mean. You know how it is great to be as all our feminists and we get to share those inner conversations that at some point are not really so much done, or it is not really so much done when we have virtual engagements. Because most times we have those physical attachments, the spiritual attachments, the emotional attachments. When your sister cries, you know you can be able to tap on their shoulder. Now we have social distancing, you can't even hug your sister when she is grieving or when she is going through something. All you can do, I remember yesterday we're having an event and we're sharing how we are dealing with this, and someone gave an example of how they had to move to their sister's home and just remained outside because they had to move to their sister's home, and just remained outside because they didn't want to because of this pandemic, they could not enter to be able to be with her because you have to social distance. But what they did, they had to remain outside and showed their support in the best way they could. And well, we cannot run away. This is the only option we have remained with virtual engagements. However, the challenge remains, can we be able to keep this going? Can we be able to achieve what we originally or what we fundamentally wanted to achieve as the young feminists? Yesterday, we had the engagement we had. It was a memorial service for one of our feminists. She sad to find that we could not, some of the members, some of the feminists could not attend. You know why? Almost the whole of yesterday, we had one of the telecommunications companies went down, like there was no connection at all. You could not access their services. And as sometimes that's what you're counting on. So when you wake up to such a day and you realize you are unable to do what is so fulfilling, both for you and for your community, because why there happened to be a fault in communications, and it's not your fault, but again, you're unable to do it. So today it will be this, tomorrow it will be that, and next time it will be the overall internet shutdown, and then it will be too late for us to keep this movement vibrant. So I mean, we have to look for ways on how we can be able to come together, or how we can be able to meet beyond, I don't know how, but I know as the young and creative minds, we can be able to find better ways on how we can be able to keep this movement vibrant. I'll share one or two ways on how our feminists or the young feminist movement has been able to bring, to hold each other, to bring ourselves together. We've had circles. When you look at other sisters in the movement, for example, the distance and location where each one of us is really quite, it's quite huge. I might be here in Kawali, the other is, I mean, there is literally no way you can say you're going, even if it's trekking, it will take ages and ages. But if we are to make a survey and ask how many can be able to walk and meet up, let's say for an intervention or maybe for an idea development, how many can we get? I will just share a quick example. Like in this period of, in this lockdown, I'm a part of very many different youth groups, and I realized uh okay, there is a way maybe we could meet. Yes, everything is down, no transport, movements are restricted. But then I realized there were some of the people in the different circles I'm in where we can be able to walk. You can walk and meet up and, come up with ideas and all that. But is it possible for us as sisters, as in the young feminist movement? Do we have even that possibility whereby I know, Susan, I can move to your community and, just use the natural resources we have right now? Can we, even if we made a survey, how many in our circle as the young feminist movement can be able to pull that off? So this is just a brief background on why we have to have these discussions. Even if we are to look at the long term, maybe in the next years, 1, 2, 3 years, shall we have this movement still up and running, or still stronger the way it is or the way it's been? Do you think we can have this movement still running in the next 3 years? So members have this real discussion, this deep discussion on how we can be able to keep the movement going. And taking you back to your question, what we think government can do to help. First of all, we need government to really strengthen the policies, but also implement them. For example, we are looking at as human rights. And if we are to look at the And it's our role as feminists to keep that going, to ask for accountability. Yes, you're able to give the 100,000 shillings once. That is a one-time thing. So after that, what next? How do you think people are going to keep surviving? It's like we're taking back the road, the saying of, instead of giving me fish, give me a road and teach me how to fish. Now it's like vice versa. It's like give them fish, a one-time meal, and then I don't know, we shall see tomorrow what next. So yeah, it's really a big role, and we are here. We've come here, and we can be able to come up with better ideas as our movement, as the young feminist movement, to push our agenda forward. Thank you so much, Madam Moderator.
Thank you, Momo. Thank you, Chair Lady, Young Feminist Movement, Global Platform Uganda. I also want to applaud you for the elaborate international analysis on COVID-19 and how it has affected the life of young women, and how it is hindering the work of young women in Uganda, most especially our movement. You have also made it so clear that, and I also want the viewers and participants online that feel free, let us use the chat box for those who are not able to talk. Let us send your questions, send your views, send your comment on the chat box. Momo, you also talked about the issue of how can we strengthen our movement amidst this COVID-19 as Global Platform Uganda. I also want the participants to give us their comments on that. This is a conversation, we are not debating, but we need to find a solution to the issues, the challenges we are facing right now, which is brought by COVID-19. On the next year, I have another panelist, Fortunate. What do you think? Why do we need feminist leadership at this critical moment? Fortunate, you're welcome.
Yeah, thank you, Susan, and thank you, Maureen, for that explanation and the brief background you've given to us. Yeah, to answer your question, Susan, we need feminism today, during this time, more than ever, like Maureen has just said, because we see as a pandemic, in this period of pandemic, women and girls are suffering. They are suffering with the economic, with the social changes. You find women cannot experiencing a lot of hassles and trouble to get the resources they need. For example, the health, the reproductive health. You find someone cannot, so we need feminism. We need feminists to come up and advocate for these people. Women are suffering. We've been suffering with inequality, gender inequality, even before COVID. And now when COVID came in, it has really worsened. So in this time, and like people are saying, where are feminists? What are they doing? Can they speak up? I think they are right. Yes, we need to speak up and we fight for these rights. We need, like, when you take an example, the previous lockdown, many girls dropped out of schools because they got pregnant. And they need a voice to fight for them. When the schools opened, most of them were not able to go back to school because they had babies to nurse, they had no one to take care of them, and still, because of COVID, they had no tuition, they had no school fees. And if we come up as feminists and we encourage those people, then we also now have a challenge. How do we do it? Because we need to appreciate very few people can manage to be online like we are doing. Even when we are there, even some of us are struggling. Now we need to think about those people who cannot even afford a phone or like cannot afford to be online. So you go to villages, people are suffering. Domestic violence has increased. Defilement cases have increased. I think now feminism, all feminists have to come up and we look into that. Young girls are suffering in the villages. Young women are suffering because domestic violence has increased. So if we come up as feminists, because you know there are many things talked about feminism, but feminism is all about equal rights. Can this suffering girl, can this girl has gotten pregnant and at an early age, get the same right as a boy child? If the girl maybe has failed to go back to school because of whatever happened to them, because for example, someone has studied a class for a longer period, we are growing, we are maturing. Someone is going to look at herself and see, really, I've grown breasts. They'll be laughing at her. How do I go back to P3? How do I go back to P5 when I have breasts, you know? So we need to come up as feminists and we address that issue. We need to talk to the people. Though the question still will be, how shall we do it? So I think feminism is needed more than ever. Though we have things that are stretching us, straining us, but feminism is needed now because our rights, girls' rights are being infringed on. Thank you.
Thank you, Fortunate, for your brilliant ideas. We're well aware that one of the principle of feminism is we need also to ground ourselves in feminist value to make us explore and our ideas and issues come out strongly. Recently, when Maureen was giving the situational analysis of COVID-19 when it broke out in Uganda last year in March, so many young women, so many women were put on front line to help fighting this COVID, especially I could give an example on the medical doctors, on the nurses that were put on front line. And right now, I could cite example in my district. We are facing a challenge because these nurses, they are here, they have to work, they have to attend to the patient which are affected by COVID-19, but the government is not providing them with PPE, personal protective gears to work. Yesterday, but one, I was with a certain nurse. This nurse had a friend, the husband was suffering from COVID-19. But unfortunately, she needs her help, the help from this nurse. Now, when she rang this nurse, she couldn't come and attend because she's not provided with this. These are the challenges as we women, young women are facing when we are doing our roles. Market policies are there which are supposed to be strengthened, but we are now in a crisis right now. This pandemic is real, it has come. How are we going to bridge this gap? Right now, we are facing it, it is real now. What should be done or what the government should do to intervene on this matter? Maureen, do you have any idea on that? Because this is what is happening on the ground right now. Our people are dying innocently because now we see it is this, we the young women who are facing this. And Fortunate has also made mention about the issue of domestic violence, the issue of gender equality, the issue of access to sexual reproductive health issues. Right now, you've seen people are on total lockdown. The young girl couldn't go and access sexual reproductive health services. You can't go for antenatal, you need, there are so many challenges. Even doing our activities as feminists, you can't move because there are no transport to make you do this. What do you think the government can do right now to help the situation which is so real at hand?
Thank
Did
you.
you hear my question?
It's good for us to know organization. Well, it's really good to know that World Health Organization now recognizes intimate partner violence as one of the most common forms of violence that we have right now. And that alone should help us or really encourage us to always speak out. Speaking of feminist voices and the challenges they're facing, uh, I think it's no shame for us to talk about the fact that most young women don't even want to associate themselves with feminism just because maybe they are torn between having a straight or a healthy or maybe what they term as a good relationship with their spouses vis-a-vis being or standing for what is right. most young women will tell you, oh, my boyfriend does not agree, or he does not, he does not submit to that. He does not accept or want me to become a feminist. And that enough really needs to tell us a lot that is happening in someone's life. Because by the time maybe your boyfriend or your partner or your spouse is really against you being or standing for what is right in your community, that is one way of being violated. And most times we cannot see. That's why World Health Organization came out and publicly recognized intimate partner violence as one of the forms or the commonest forms of violence young women are facing. You might not know that you're being violated. You might not know that your rights are being stepped on because maybe you think you're in a love, I don't know, you are maybe in a bubble, or you are being protected, whatever everyone thinks you need to stand for what is right. Most women are silent. We find ourselves silent or maybe ignoring silent or maybe ignoring what is right because we think our partners won't approve of what we are doing, or we need validation from them, or we need them to, whatever. They find us and one is a companion of the other, and we have all those traditional beliefs. You cannot live alone, you cannot be on your own, you have to have a partner. But I'm telling you, if there is a kind of violence and happening in your community and you're silent, maybe because they will tell you that's none of our business, leave that issue to them, it's their own. You do not interfere with people's marriages, you do not interfere with people's relationships, things like that. That's when we find ourselves being so quiet. And more things that are really outside, discussing the politics and discussing all that and leaving the person. I don't know for who, but as the young feminist movement came out to change all that, starting from where we started from in 2019. I know, Susan, you remember, and when you look at that and where we are now, we've managed to, try to challenge all that, try to challenge all that, try to make sure there is actually a safer space, which is being threatened at the moment. That's why we are here, because we are saying, do we still have those safe spaces where young women can be able to come out and, express themselves, or are we going to have community or maybe public dialogues and all that? And they're also all right, but at the end of it all, we need to come and to come in the inner circle and talk about issues that are from the heart, issues that are directly affecting our well-being, our social, our psychological, our inner being, our spiritual being. And right now, that is why we are here to ensure that we still have such spaces, or we can still maintain such spaces. Thank you. And over to you.
Thank you, thank you very much, Maureen, for that brilliant conversations. And I have one chat here. This is from Bira Janet. She's saying thank you. I also have another one from Nala Kubi and Nifa. Yes, Maureen, loud and clear. I am privileged to be part of this conversation. Thank you, Anifa. I also have another comment here. Regards to all, thanks organizers. This is the time the world leaders. Many young girls are going through unbearable pains from relatives and community members, but no one to help. Above all, they lack sanitary tissues. We can't only solve this virtually. Ground efforts are required. Perhaps the government could loosen on the restriction of movement on young feminist group. Thank you very much, Resty. I also have another one from Mbaba Ziclea, hello feminist. I'm Mbaba Ziclea, former vice president of Team University Kampala campus. Thank you very much, Mbaba Z. She has also put her contact there. People, in case you need her, people who are participants, you can pick her contact. Vera Janet again said, look at those women who were arrested on the street of Kampala. Those women were street vendors, and the way police arrested them wasn't fair. And I believe that these women are sole breadwinners in their homes. And perhaps the reason why they go ahead to go on street selling their merchandise on the street, but how can we help them as feminists? Thank you very much, Vera Janet. We also have from Rest in Abagala, it's factual that many girls are harassed by their relatives during this period. I had an engagement with my district community officer. On average, 35 girls every month drop out of school due to defilement relatives. Ladies online, you can see those statistics. What can we do as young feminist leaders? Regards from Madam. I'm Resting Abagala, feminist and student at Mbara University. I wish to get in touch with you as we further this work. Thank you, Madam. Baba Zikle again said, many young girls out there are facing hard times. They are sexually harassed and look at as objects. Some have lost hope of going back to school since Uganda is facing a second wave of pandemic lockdown. Young girls are looking for jobs as housemaid. Wow, you can see what we are going through this time. Jeans, you are welcome. At this point in time, this is again Rest in Abagala. Girls needs hope and a package of SRHR information. And no one is going to extend that hope apart from us, because even parents are frustrated. Vera Janet again, just like Claire has clearly stated, let there be an open campaign against the male bosses who committing sexual harassment to these young girls who are their housemates. This is from Kobusinge Mercy. Do feminists really understand what feminism is? Wow. This is from Kengan's Gloria. Good afternoon, everyone. My concern is more on women who are living positive with HIV, who can move and access drugs. I don't know how we can help them, because you realize most of these women are single mothers and the sole provider of their families. Another one is Abibi Brenda. Thanks so much, Susan, for the show. Currently, we are having young girls being raped, which is caring their parents. Wow, thank you very much. Thank you, participant online, for your brilliant comment. This is a beautiful conversation. Remember, we are supposed to have this conversation for 45 minutes. We are now 38:02. Once again, I'm Susan Akoli, who is moderating this program from Global Platform Uganda, APAC. Now we have seen so many issues, we have brought it here as young feminist leaders who are facing during this lockdown. And we have seen the possible solutions, what can be done, what should we do as young feminist leaders so that we adapt to this situation. We can see even right now, there are so many issues on the ground, but there are also opportunities which comes with it. What are the solutions, but what do we see as an opportunity which is brought by this pandemic or by this lockdown that we should tap into to make us adapt to this situation? Fortunately, what do you see? What do you see as an opportunity which is also brought amidst the challenges we are facing right now?
Thank you so much, Masa, again. I think in this pandemic, we've really seen so many gaps. And I think we can grab this opportunity, and we find how to bridge the gaps. Now we need to stand up, and we use these challenges as a lesson. We now see how we are less represented. We need to call for equal representation, even during this pandemic, in decision-making for the COVID-19, in planning to address these challenges. We need to advocate for that equal representation. And, calling for that opportunity. These days, like someone said at one of the women conferences, like no one is going to give you that chance to sit on that round table. You need to grab the space. So as feminists, I think this pandemic has showed us that we have a lot to do. So we need to understand our cause. Like some of the participants, someone in the participants said, do we understand what feminism is? So we need to understand what we are. And I think most of us now know it's about equality. So we need to take this chance. We need to take these challenges we've faced as a lesson. We now need to stand up and fight for these young women. We fight for these young girls who are being raped, who are being abused sexually. So many things are happening. So we can take this pandemic, we can take these challenges themselves as a lesson so that we can stand out. Even when the pandemic is out, is no more, we need to stand out and we bridge the gaps. For example, right now we see like we are less in representation. So we need to call up, we stand out, so that we are represented, so that we represent the ideas for the young people. Because it is very good to represent something that you know. So like as feminists, we need to stand up. We now know the challenges that people are facing. We now know like domestic violence is real. We've been hearing it in news. We now know like defilement, rape are real. Because we see now even fathers have been raping their children, which is quite absurd, but it has become common in this COVID pandemic. You find, I think most of us, I don't know if you remember the clip that went viral on social media where a policeman was beating a woman who was selling fruits around Kampala. So those are challenges. We didn't know that thing can happen. People have lost humanity. So we need to come out as feminists. We fight for those women. Girls are suffering, they don't have pads. And even the people who have been trying to support them, also now they have no way they can support because the economy is struggling. So you cannot help someone when you cannot help yourself. So we need, as feminists, I think now we have to learn that we have very many challenges ahead of us that we need to address. So we need to wake up and we find solutions.
Thank you very much, Fortunate. I also encourage people, viewers online, to follow us at #GPU UG Cafe Talk Show. Thank you. Okay, we have exhausted our conversation because we are almost coming to the end of it. But I also want to give opportunity to the participant online who also want to talk, to share also their experiences or their views. But before I pitch, I have another comment from Sarote. Sarote said, good afternoon, madam. Thanks for the beautiful lesson taught to us. My question is, please highlight more about the basic roles of feminism. Sarah, your concern is noted. We also have another one from Bira Janet. We need to pray more because we have sufficient time. We can help women out there to learn how to save, because women should not only think they have to always be provided for. Let's empower those women who are suffering out there, not only economically. I believe this will help. This is so brilliant, Anifa, thank you. Let us also take concern and experience from people online. I can see Kabusinge, your hand is up.
Thank you so much, Madam, for the opportunity. This has been a very brilliant conversation. My concern is about the usual, women should be represented, women should be given opportunity, this and that. I am personally, I like to call myself a female rights advocate because I feel like there is a lot about the statement feminism that I'm yet to understand, and when I do, I'll officially declare I'm feminist. I am presently the Prime Minister of Mara University of Science and Technology Guild and the Secretary for Female Affairs at the district level, Chihula District. I have taken some time to observe what exactly happened in the few females around me, and I realized the issue is also back to the mentality of the females, because while we are advocating for females to represent, how many are, you know, stand are capable of truly representing? Because we are tired of having 300 plus women MPs and we see not much that they are doing. All these things that we are talking about are actually happening in the face of women MPs in every constituency. We are seeing people being raped, yet we have women representatives. How many have stood up to talk? Even though we are feminists, that was an affirmative seat for female representation. So we realize that, I personally realize that the issue is far beyond how many people can represent. And so I advocate that as we seek to find solution, we seek to actually encourage women to empower themselves, to invest in self, to attend such conferences, to read books. People are waiting to be employed, but people have skills. They can, make something. And if we do not teach the young generation that you can make money out of what your hand can do, that you need to develop yourself, even though there is a seat for you because of affirmative action, eventually we shall see how capable you are by what you've done in that seat. I therefore think that it's high time the feminists started to advocate females to actually do personal development, so that when these opportunities come, we can take them on fully and equally like males do, or even better. Thank you.
Thank you, Kokosinge. This is from Deborah Agweng. Well, as feminists, I think we need to share more about gender equality with our families and communities around us through engaging them in conversation. For example, friends, women, those young girls and boys out there. This is from Akolesta. There is also need to do more on capacity building to feminists so that they are more equipped with knowledge to lead others in the community. This one is from Atimango. I think I've read this. I think feminists, we need to start from our community to help the young women in our community to really, because they really feel down. We can be a ray of hope. Yeah, this one we have read it. This one is from Esther. Good afternoon. As feminists, we need to move down to our communities to first make people understand the core principle of feminists so that people who kept misunderstanding feminist. I think okay, this one is now Nakalubi Nanifai. Well, I think we should include everyone in this campaign, including men. If we are to advocate for equality, men should be informed too why they need to share rights with women. Take an example of increased violence, men to need to know the danger of their actions. I believe this will help. Mama, thank you to be back online. I had a question for you. Before we close, as the chair lady of this young feminist movement, Uganda, they will still have new participants online here who has joined us. They still need to know more about what it really means by feminist. And there's also another question I was also posing to you. What do you see as an opportunity brought by this pandemic, which we can tap into it to help us adapt to this situation?
I was unable to unmute. Okay, Susan, I can see we are running out of time.
Yeah.
But one thing is for sure, our approach has, as the young feminist movement, our approach has been community-based and community-led. We've managed to get to communities. We've managed to reach out to the last young woman out there to encourage them, to talk to them about what feminism is all about. And all the knowledge on feminism we have has been informed by the communities, by the various young women in the various communities we've visited. And one thing is for sure, we've had very many different definitions of feminism. However, we've managed to come up with a key definition with a key principles. We have 10 of them. They can go and you can visit our social media and also our website, us at Girls Must Uganda, because we've managed to capture all that work that is informed by the various young women leaders in communities on what they think feminism is, and we've managed to come up with better interventions on how we can address our challenges that are affecting them. Feminism is an ideology. Our role is to make sure that we interpret this ideology opportunities that talk and call the government. We can cry and call the government to come and help us, but one thing for sure, we all watch news, we all read newspapers, we know what government is doing and what they're up to and what their priorities are. So if we know what they are, and if we know that we know where we can influence or maybe call upon government, and also we know where we as the young women leaders, as the young feminists, where we can be able to act on, it is that easy. We can be able to create the change we want. I mean, the different young women who are looking for the thing, I can advise them is one, go back, create the slightest change in your community. Talk to a sister, talk to your sisters, talk to your mother. You know, have family talks, have real conversations with them. That is one step as a feminist. That is one step you can take on. It looks small, but it's very helpful. It does not help if you're looking for maybe, I don't know, a book or an encyclopedia definition, when at your home, you are in wrong terms. You do not speak to your mother, or you do not speak to your parents, or you do not decide as a family, or you cannot actually comfort each other, especially like in this COVID-19 period. We've had stories. You can go again and check online. There are stories. You can listen to my podcast and listen on how young women are crying out. This is real. It's not textbook. You know, that's why we have the young feminist movement, the young feminists. This ain't textbook. This is real. All what we are talking about is happening. We've looked at the rapings, and I will really insist on intimate partner violence. This is one of the things that is chewing us up. Your husband will beat you up, and you will think, if he doesn't beat you, then he doesn't love you. That is what maybe your grandmother or your great grandparents have told you, or that's what they believed in. But hello, we are in the 21st century. Things have changed. We do not do things that way. We have a choice to make. And one thing we know is we have channels, like, for example, Global Platform Uganda, for example, our movement, to support in making the right decisions, to know that we can know when this is wrong or right. And that is all informed by the different community voices. Feminists, there is so much change we can make if we go back and start from the smallest unit, and that is a family. Go back in your community, do something and know, this is my change. This is the change I want to create as a young feminist or a young woman leader, or a young woman who is aspiring to be a better leader, who wants to become a better counselor, who wants to be like Susan, who wants to be like Gloria Chilengat, who wants to go and influence policies at council level, at MPship. We mold them from start, from home, from family. And in the next years, we are going to see amazing young women young women leaders who are going to build our country in the political, social, in all the spheres, whether economic and all that. Thank you so much, Madam Moderator. I might have taken more time than I was given, but thank you so much again for holding this session.
Fine. Thank you, Momo. Thank you for your elaborations. Also, fortunately, may I give you opportunity, also 1 minute, to say your last word to your fellow feminists.
Thank you, Susan. Thank you so much for moderating this session. Thank you, Maureen, for your elaborations. They are so good. Before I say my last word, I'd like to appreciate all the male feminists. They are doing a good job. And of course, as we are empowering women and girls, of course, we are empowering them, but they are going to meet men who don't know how to deal with empowered women. So I think, and we call upon all those male feminists to recruit more males. We need more men on board to come and, you know, they understand us, because they need to understand us so that we also understand them, so that in future we are thinking the same, we are believing in one thing. As we are fighting for equality, if they know how we behave with the empowered women, they will know how to deal with us. And I think when that is done, we shall live in a violence-free environment. Our world will be free. We shall have no gender-based violence. So as I conclude, I would like to call upon everyone, call upon government to look into these issues, because we do not say these things just for formality or just. We are feminists for a cause. And I believe everyone there who is maybe fighting for women's rights has a reason. I personally, I grew up in that village. I know how much women suffer. I know how much girls suffer. So when, as feminists, let's stand out with or without government. We can call, maybe they'll find us. Let us start our journey and they'll find us. Like Maureen said, it can start with your friend. And let us begin our laws from our friends, our communities, our families, and maybe the country will catch up with us. Let us embrace feminism. Let us embrace equality. As we get these opportunities, let us appreciate them and let us not misuse them. We've seen many cases where we vote for women leaders, we vote for young people, but when they reach there, they are taken over by patriarchy. They change. Yet even the Bible in Romans tells us, do not conform to the principles of this world, you know? So when we are chosen, when we move to those positions, let us not conform to their belief. Let us stick to our faith. Let us stick to our belief and what we stand for. Then with that, we shall give a good cause for feminism. Thank you so much. I pray we get more engagements like this and we preach. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Big ups to you, Fortunate.
Hi, ladies.
Interesting.
Hi, gentlemen. Sorry, we've been having a number of engagements here at the platform. Hi, Fortunate, Maureen, Claire, everybody, David. Oh, guys, I love you. Thank you very, very much. I wanted just to say that this is a space, guys, that we have to fight for it. It's not going to get us just easily like that. The feminist space is now very, very narrow. People are fighting. There is a lot of patriarchy. There is a lot of masculinity. There is a lot of aspects of violence and injustices against women and girls, that as women, we only need to partner with the men. We need to rise up. We need to speak. And such platforms that bring us together from different areas to share these issues actually is one of the platforms that Global Platform is encouraging. If we have these conversations, we won't have them in vain. Once we speak loudly about these issues, we are very much aware that the world will hear us. Different stakeholders will pick it up and say, okay, I think this is an issue. Because you've raised a number of challenges that young people are facing. It's not easy to stay in the same small space with your perpetrator. Your father can be your own abuser, your own brother can abuse you, your own uncle, you know, the closest abusers that we have right now are the people close unto us. So we need to take it very seriously. So I call upon us to be able to identify these issues, report these issues, refer these issues, monitor these issues, and ensure that the aspect of impunity does not get into the management of these cases. Because once we fail to follow up these issues, once we fail to identify and report these issues, the perpetrators will go free, scot-free, and at the end of the day, we shall have a lot of impunity and more abuses and injustices against young women and girls will be encouraged. It's unfortunate, I just heard this morning in one of the sub-counties in Apache that a child of 4 years was raped, and I'm still trying to follow up this case. It's just one out of a million cases out there that are either reported or unreported. So we need to speak out against these injustices. You may not feel the pain now if it doesn't happen to you, but it hits hard. It hits harder than the pandemic that we are undergoing. Actually, the biggest challenge that we have right now are the injustices against women and girls, not the coronavirus, because we've been packed, we've been, you know, locked up with our perpetrators. Husbands and wives, you know, you've heard about a lady who was killed in Gulu, from one of the NGOs, and she was having a charity organization that talks about issues of justices. But she was killed, and the neighbors didn't open the doors to help her, even when she was crying for help. So people are paying deaf ears to issues affecting women and girls. You know, they will say, I think that is something normal. They'll sort themselves out, not really seeing that, understanding the fact that you can lose your life. So when, as women, we say you need to quit violent relationships, we are not encouraging divorce. We are not encouraging separations, but we need your life. One woman killed is 1,000 dreams of the young feminists killed. So we do not want our dreams to be destroyed or shattered through your demise. We need you alive. So stay alert, stay focused, stay determined. We shall win this battle together.